Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up your email with OpenPGP encryption. Now if you don't know what OpenPGP encryption, that's fine, but I would recommend watching the supplement video to this on what encryption is, why you should be using it, and how you should be using it. For those who don't know what we're using OpenPGP, which is an email encryption. It works for all operating systems, Windows, Mac OS X, and GNU Linux, Android, which is a distribution of GNU Linux, and iOS. In this tutorial, we're going to use Thunderbird as our email client. It's worth noting right here, though, that it's possible to integrate PGP encryption in any email client using command line tools. However, Thunderbird is an open source software made by Mozilla. It's pretty nice. I enjoy it. It's pretty secure. I like its interface, and it has lots of support and plugins, which is why I'll be using it in this tutorial. And if you're a beginner, which I assume most of you are, then it's probably a good place to start. Okay, so when you start up Thunderbird for the first time, you should be faced with a screen like this. I would hope most of you know what's going on here, but I'll quickly explain that this is sort of how you'll configure your email address. Most of you, I assume, already have an email address existing. That's how I'm going to configure this tutorial. However, you can create your own email address with Thunderbird configuration and hosting, or Gandhi.net. I don't do that. I'm going to use in my existing email, and I'm going to use my Gmail. Now for Gmail, it's going to be a little weird because you have to actually give it permission to use your Gmail, and we'll just see that in a second. So I use IMAP remote folders. I don't use POP3 just because storage space and a couple of other reasons. I personally prefer to use IMAP. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't affect this tutorial at all. So then we'll hit done, and if you're using a Gmail account, this will pop up, and you can go ahead and you just go ahead and hit allow, and there we go. So now we have to install OpenPGP encryption plugin. So we're going to go to Add-ons Manager right here. Add-ons Manager, it's this tab up here, and we're going to go to Get Add-ons. We're going to search for OpenPGP Message Encryption Authentication for Thunderbird and SeaMonkey. And we are going to install, and we're going to restart. When you restart, you should be faced with a screen similar to this. If you don't see this, you can go up here to Enigmail and Setup Wizard, and it'll open it up for you. So we'll just do a standard configuration, and we'll come up with a good passphrase. Now, I'm just going to use a random passphrase for this, but I'd actually recommend using a randomly generated passphrase for this, because the higher your security, the better it is. So we'll hit next, and it will generate a key for us. Now this can take a long time. I'll have a better explanation of what this is, but basically it's using entropy to generate randomness. Entropy, which is basically randomness in your computer to generate a key. It didn't take too long because Windows kind of sucks. A whole bunch of random things running. But if you're on Linux specifically, it can take a long time. As you can see, it finished already. So we'll just create a revocation certificate. And we're gonna have to open up our use our passphrase again. So I keep that on hand. And we'll just create it and save it somewhere. It doesn't matter where, but just save it, and you're good. So what the revocation certificate is that if you want to revoke the key, you have to have that somewhere. Otherwise, the key will not revoke, and you'll have a bad key. So we'll just go ahead. We'll hit next, and now we're finished. Now we have it configured. I'm going to show you a few uses of it, and then we're going to wrap up the video. So what's going on? Well, in order to really know what's going on, we need to sort of discuss what encryption is. And there'll be a much better explanation in the supplement video. But for now, all you need to know is that there are two things. There's your public key and there's your private key. Your private key is something you lock away in your darkest corner, and we'll talk about that in a later video on how to store keys, where to store keys, how to keep keys encrypted. But for right now, I'd keep it on your computer somewhere. And then your public key, which is you want it to be everywhere and anywhere, because the thing about public keys is they're how you send information to other people. So as an example here, I have a public key sent to me by myself again, Bacon Hash, and we're going to save it. So it's going to give you this weird checksum string right here, .asc, and ASC is an armored text file. So we'll save it. It already exists, but it's okay. And then what we'll do is we'll go to Enigmail, Key Management, and import keys from file, and then we'll import it right here. Yep. And what this does is that it allows us to send encrypted messages. So before, I wouldn't be able to send Bacon Hash a encrypted message. But now, if I do, it'll automatically be encrypted, and Bacon Hash will be able to decrypt it on his computer. Encrypted message. So the important thing to remember here is that you send what you do, and I've already done this, but before you send anyone anything, you need to send them in plain text your public key so that they, I always send you emails with the subject. Always send them your public key. But why? Why all this trouble? It seems like such a headache for little payoff. Granted, you may be correct. Encryption may seem like a giant hassle to you, or anyone really, so why use it? The obvious answer is that it protects your sensitive data. That when sending things you want to make sure are secure, you must encrypt them. But why even bother with encryption for normal emails? Why bother encrypting your email when you want to send a happy birthday message to Joe Schmo? It's a matter of principle. In an age when the government can read any of your emails, you must protect yourself. Even now, people are fighting for the right to use encryption in their everyday lives. To use encryption that is the basis for our security, that is the basis for our personalized computing. There are people in many different governments all over the world today that want to make true encryption illegal because they want to watch you. They want to see your every message, read your every text, stand over your shoulder. They want to create a big brother. When you exercise your right to use true encryption for any regular email, for anything at all, you're sending a message. So it might be a hassle, but it's a damn important one.